Looks like they're going to go for it. If they can make contact there, that is excellent. That is really, really good indeed. And our Jaegers have pounced out on that, of course. Let's double check our cannon fire. Maybe we can get some decent canister shots out onto this Swiss infantry now moving in on us. What we can do. Hello my good students. Welcome back to our Napoleon Total War campaign as Austria, and we are joining us back from the previous episode, which was a long time ago now. We now have captured Milan, and that has destroyed the Kingdom of Italy for us, which is a massive win. The Italians were pumping army after army after army out on our flank here. So with that down, we now have an opening here to actually reclaim Innsbruck and Tyrol, which is really going to be useful for us, because that means we can then limit the Württembergs over here. They do have that full stack over here, slightly damaged somehow. We don't know how that's happened. But that not to worry at all. So the problem here is, of course, we do have low public order in Milan because we have just taken it. Even though we're exempting them from taxes, the little buggers don't really like our foreign occupation. 25 public disorder penalty from that, and that is rather nasty. That will go over time, but we will likely have a rebellion within 2 or 3 turns. There will have some riots as a warning to start with, which will damage one of our more minor settlements over here. However, we do now have a second university. We need to make sure we are using that. So what we're going to use it for is, I think we should, I'm tempted by the abolition of slavery for the increased lower class happiness across the board. And that's from clamour for reform, so that will actually reduce the unhappiness we get from having extra universities and such. But it will, I do still really like the idea of having a revolution, and having less clamour for reform will actually make that harder, but you can't really argue with increased happiness across the board. A revolution is really not the top of our priorities here. With we have Hungary, which is borderline unhappy. We have Moravia, which is borderline unhappy, and of course Croatia as well. Where's this coming from? So we do have one clamour for reform, but we are of course getting negative influence on taxes and our government types. So really, you could say that a revolution would be needed for that, to be honest, to sort that out, and stability will be ours internally. But we do still need to get this moving. Abolition of slavery, quite possibly. Might want to start moving to Grand Battery so that it gets the extra artillery accuracy, but also unlocks the ordnance board. And then that will let us actually start recruiting howitzers, which will mean I'll start recruiting more cannon units, because I'm really not a big fan of the more normal type cannons here that we get from our ordnance factories, the 6-pounders and such, but from our ordnance factory here we can go up to 12-pounders. Literally just increase range, doesn't help with anything else, but that is still quite a large investment, and not one that we're going to get into very soon at all. Carcass shot just letting us get experimental howitzers, which will increase our options for ammo types. Could of course go for conscript infantry tactics, which will increase our militia morale by 1. Not the greatest there, but will also reduce the cost for recruiting militia, and then of course get the availability for the military academy, which is very important indeed. That will let us actually use quicklime. I thought that might have been tied to the Grand Battery, or perhaps a cannon type building chain. Not to worry, but with this we'll be able to start getting 47th Czech regiments, some 1st Hussars, very nice cavalry there indeed, Archduke Charles legions, some really competitive infantry there, and later on we'll be able to start getting modern rifles to really get into our national flavour of Austrian Tyrolean Feldjägers, and of course Windbücher Jägers, which are incredible skirmishers there. That's going to take some time. That will take 10 turns, but let's get it started just so we can get that going, and then we can think about upgrading to that. And after we get field ambulance, which is amazing for our replenishment, we can move over to abolition of slavery there, I think. Let's go through our lists just to make sure that we're not missing out on any standing armies here, because I do believe we're missing something. We do have some Jaegers over here. They were coming to reinforce and to help out over here. You know what? That might not be a bad idea to keep these really over in Austria over here, because there is the chance that the Württemberg armies over here will march through these mountains once again and get into Vienna on our backs there, which is rather nasty. We'll deal with the Ottomans in just a second, but we do need to make sure, yeah, this is just the one fleet here. We do have a few spies about, we do have the two, but we're very much using those. We know where those are. That's absolutely fine there. So, our navy has finished repairing, but we are waiting on the recruitment of 264 gunners over here, and that would be absolutely brilliant there. So that we can start actually projecting our naval power into these trade regions here, because we've not managed to get a very solid hold on these trade nodes, have we? And having those trade nodes will really boost our economy. As I've said, we're on a fairly limited economy, and that will only get worse with these two ships out. But once we do get those out, we'll be able to, like I say, control the seas a bit better. So the goal for today is look at that rebellion in Milan and also watch our flanks over here, because the Ottoman armies have split up. We have Ahmed Auf over here. I said that very Germanic accent there. But a lot of cannons, a lot of archers, a few blunderbuss gunners, which is not a good idea. We're going to get straight on top of these though. We're going to go for this army first. We have actually ordered this army to go over to our flank really, but I think it's better to send this forwards. Maybe if we get some fairly decent losses on our side here, we can push for Wallachia over here. So first we are going to go for our flank to make sure that is secured. So let's go for that. So you can see that this is not the most advanced army over here. The real threat is going to be these Delhi Lancers, which are rather nasty. That charge bonus is astronomical. And these are two 18-pounder artilleries here. But let's just get in. Not a lot to say here. Fight this, destroy them, and win. Okay, so we have set up our cannons. We've had to move very far forwards onto the battlefield here, taking a slightly more defensive position if possible. The Ottomans really want to use their cannon advantage here with those 18-pounders. We have counter-batteried them a little bit. We've reduced their cannon numbers by one here. What have we got over here? Not quite over here, but I'm not entirely sure. Are they guessing these flat-firing cannons over this hill? But I'm sure they're bouncing off, getting some very nice arcs over, as you can see here, just going over our heads. We have decided to get a hammer out of skirmishers over here to try and tempt out any cavalry really and shoot those down on a massive volley, and then if they do charge of course into our Jaegers, we will be able to back them up with our Fusiliers behind them. So we're just finishing forming up over there. That's the plan, because they are holding the hill, they're cowering behind the hill. We do need to look out for those swordsmen though, because they are hidden of course. We cannot see them as of yet. Might, in that case, want to push up a little bit with this row of Fusiliers and Grenadiers over here. We do have some Hungarian Fusiliers mixed in with our general Fusiliers and such over there. It's more of a waiting game, really. Just a bit of counter battery going on. It does appear that they want to fire us our own cannons at the moment, but we don't want to let that continue. So we do have to move, unfortunately. AI playing rather defensively here. We're going to have to move up to this little plateau, I think. Going to try and keep a thicker formation so that we can form a square in more orderly time, rather than guess out the massive amount of firepower. We are going to back ourselves up with all of our cavalry on this flank. Going to hide over in the trees over here. And try and push on over here, because you can see they're trying to get onto our Jaegers now with their cannon fire. And that's not ideal, of course. This building, though, is in the way, and I don't want to take that just yet, to be honest. Or unless that does fire actually over the hill, I might want to chuck some skirmishers in there. But with the amount of skirmishers we have per group, that might not all pile in very neatly at all. We might have some people waiting around in the courtyard area there. We will, of course, back those up with some Fusiliers over here. We do have some Hungarian Fusiliers in reserve, if need be. And I think with the way our cannons are firing, we could probably get away with sending those in the centre here. But right in the way of their cannons, is that a good idea? Probably not, to be honest. Let's put them into a small column here. so they can move up a little easier. And we will, of course, move our general further up as well to help out our morale onto our left flank there. But you can see, yeah, we need to double time this. Absolutely need to double time. That's where we get into the building for cavalry protection there, because they are going to charge out now. And that's the power of the hammer there. Huge amount of losses on that first volley there, but we do need to double time this so we can get some shots out before they get contact with our skirmishers. But we have made them rouse off, and there we go. Now we can start firing out our cannons a bit better. We might want to form a square over here. Depends where these cavalry are going to go. But let's just get onto our cannons and start firing more concisely on this unit of cavalry here. We are going to start firing out over here, of course, just as they reach our range, but we do need to square up immediately over here. And with that thicker formation, we can form a square much quicker. That's the trade with these spaghetti lines we have been making recently. And we have managed to take that building quite neatly there against my previous beliefs there, which is brilliant. So our Jaegers will have some very nice cover in there. We will take a charge here, but not to worry, we're crouching either way, so we can't take friendly fire from our supporting line infantry over here, which is excellent. Very, very nice indeed. It looks like we have rousted off that cavalry for now. We are going to start firing onto these Janissary musketeers over here. Wow, very nasty fire coming out indeed, but we should be able to deal with that fairly decently. If we get rid of our square here, what we can do is actually move our cavalry up and start scouting out their flank, see where those swordsmen are hiding to. You can see again the power of just mass skirmishers over here, really hurting the Janissary's morale over here. And here's one unit of oh no, if these people get into the house, we are absolutely screwed. So we do need to actually fire out on them, but the morale there is dwindling a bit, and they are double thinking that. That is absolutely brilliant. They're thinking twice there. We do still have some lancers in the back here, but they are rather battered at 139 out of 160 units there, but their morale is now recovering. Now they are sat back and recovering. Rather nasty indeed. We get some cannon fire and this massive amount of infantry here. I don't want to charge in our cavalry just yet because we still don't know where the rest of these swordsmen are located. But what we do want to do, I think, is push in a little and try and support our centre here. And what we're going to do is start pushing up with our... I think we might want to keep these still in reserve, actually. We could start pushing up over here to really threaten, but it looks like they're charging down the hill anyway, are they? No, they are thinking, so we'll push up just a tad. We'll get a little closer to the building here, and we shall of course follow up with our line infantry there. What we could do is try and snipe their general, but these Delhi Lancers, even though they do not have the greatest melee attack, neither do we, but we have spotted some skirmishers. So we are absolutely going to run these down. I do believe these are archer units, these skirmishers, which is rather interesting. Do still need to watch out for these swordsmen here. So we are going to fire a little more concisely onto them. But with our... yeah, our skirmishers are certainly within range there. And they're going to start getting in range of these archers now. It's going to be rather... How are we looking over here? We haven't taken many losses at all. Less than 10 over here. That is amazing in the building. We have got on the backs of these units over here. We might have to turn around to face these Delhi Lancers though. So if we can take this, we can run onto their cannons and then really push in onto these Ottomans. Just a little wary of these Lancers coming around. May well have to form a square very soon over here. If we get one volley off, that'd be very nice. Before they make contact, that is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that morale, but we do need to form a square very early there indeed. Where are they going? Might have to form 3 squares here just to make sure that they don't hurt us too much there. And there we go. Better safe than sorry. Much better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've completely routed off those skirmishers. Let's get right on top of these cannons now. Should be absolutely fine. We haven't completely routed off these cavalry units over here, which is excellent. absolutely shattered there. Not too worried about charging down these cannons since we are coming over the lip of the hill. They won't be able to get a decent line of fire onto us. We can't see they're reloading anyway, but we have made contact. Just their general left, really. And he's going to start charging down our infantry by the looks of it. Not a good idea, taking a very cheeky cannon shot there. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If we get these units of cavalry on top of their general, maybe we can force them into our infantry there. Are we in range? Not quite, unfortunately. That's not to worry. What we're going to do is stop our cannons from firing so we don't take any friendly fire. Because according to Murphy's Law, friendly fire isn't. You can't really argue with that. Just killing off some retreating skirmishers over here, and that is excellent so that they don't have any remaining units after the battle. But after killing their general, it's just a rout fest. Waiting for, looks like they're coming back with some fresh swordsmen over here. They've been completely absent from the battle. Rather interesting indeed. If we just need to push up then with our skirmishers here, we need to double time that. I'm not going to charge them down with our cavalry because they can have a better sustained melee fight than our cavalry. We may well use them for a flank. Otherwise, I think we're going to be fine. What we will do is speed up the time here and help out there. What we can do is, of course, move up with our line infantry as well. Looks like the cannon men over here are coming back for some more as well. They want to reclaim their cannons. It's not going to happen though. Just going to get into the range of our skirmishers here. Of course, it looks like we do have some very nice firing arcs with our occupation of the building over here. So we will be firing out onto these. I think we might actually want to charge these down with our cavalry now. That's the end of the battle. A very nice victory indeed, and that is our flank secured. So, with only 210 losses, that's a very nice victory indeed, but the enemy does have 771 men remaining. I don't think that's going to finish them off. Let's have a look. Yep, they are retreating, so we are going to have to go over. I think with a quick auto-resolve, we'll finish that off. Very nice indeed. Too many losses on the auto-resolve there, but we cannot complain with a very secure flank. Path blocked over here, yet we weren't really trying to move him anyway, but not to worry. We did gain the Corporal and Gore Braid over here, so +1 command when leading infantry, and +1 to morale in battles on that general there, which is absolutely brilliant. Can't move him anymore though, which is rather unlucky. They didn't quite cross the border over here. Can we move? No, we can't. That's a real shame because that would get us straight onto the very nice replenishments in the Balkans here with our supply depot. So what we're going to do is go straight into another battle over here, and we're going to try and take on this lovely general over here. Shouldn't be too difficult, because we do have some very nice chevroned up Swiss line. That'd be brilliant indeed. Hopefully we can move over and take Wallachia. What do they have? They have that's even worse than the previous army there. I think our cavalry should be able to run riot so long as we get rid of these Delhi Lancers fairly easily. With mostly skirmishers over here. Should be quite decent. Let's get into it. And there we go, very, very nice victory indeed. Quite the walkover, took some battering from their cannons as we approached, but that's not to worry with a mostly infantry army there. You can't really have any options but to rush down their cannons, unfortunately. But not to worry, very nice losses indeed. That should mean I didn't quite get the kills we needed there. If they are in range, Be very nice to go for this, I think. Very, very nice to go for this. They'll have this army here, we can see, and some armed citizenry to protect. That's the thing. But really, I'd like these to actually reinforce this army so we can get this over and done with in one swift strike there. Be very nice indeed. Rather than let this army actually start raiding and pillaging once we do, of course, take Wallachia. But is it safe to take Wallachia just yet? So that's the question. Let's move the spy down so we can see Istanbul. We do have a full army there. And what sort of thing do they have? They have a lot of provincials over here. Let's try and sabotage that. 31%. It's not too likely going to happen there. Let's infiltrate it to see what they do have exactly. And even with that not working, I don't think we'd have got in and sabotaged that army. But we can see a very minor navy over here. Looks like they've captured perhaps a 32-gun frigate. We'll see, we'll see. Not to worry though. If we go in, we can see properly now exactly what these are. And they're not to be trifled with. They've got some decent accuracy, but their morale classically Ottoman and low there. Even with these Janissaries, actually. I thought they were the slightly more elite of their infantry. 5 morale there. So these Semat Janissary Grenadiers, which are elite, but a lot of 18-pounders there. Very, very nasty indeed. And this Sipahi cavalry, not something to be trifled with either. Much more nasty than their Delhi Lancers. We do have a backup army over here though, so that's not to worry at all. And once we do take Istanbul, we will have to think about Athens as well. We'll see. We'll have to see. We do have to get rid of the Ottomans completely, unfortunately. It would be nice to sue for peace and then maybe ask for some land. I wonder if we could do that already, just put them off a little. We can ask for regions. Let's ask for Wallachia and Greece, just to be greedy, and see what we can do about that. And request peace there. Alrighty. I wasn't exactly expecting that, but you know what? I will happily take that. However, they won't be too happy with us. They really won't be too happy with us here because of foreign occupation and such. Let's double check Athens. It's going to be very underdeveloped as well, actually. They're actually quite happy with us, which is rather interesting there. How's that affected our economy? Boosted us by a good 1,000 or more there. That is brilliant. Very much needed. That's more ports. Over here we have a new trading port. So that's some vineyards as well, which is absolutely brilliant. However, are we expecting this peace to last? And with this extra territory now to look after, with this, it's a minor army, absolutely a minor army, but it will be able to raid. And we do have a supply post over here. I'm going to keep that supply post for now, and then we can convert that to a market later on. But they do have dotted armies about here and there. Here and there, we can weirdly get some size over here. But with that said, what we can do is just move into Wallachia, source out the population disorder there, and start replenishing a bit better. And you know what? Diplomatic peace, much better than a forced peace. We've got some farms over here as well. That is excellent. Really nice indeed, increasing our wealth and, of course, replenishment. Can't be understated there. I want to move out this militia. Oh, we've got some Hungarian Fusiliers. Did we lose anything over here recently? No, we didn't. That's excellent. We will still have to wait to reinforce over here. That's a very nice little move there. I honestly was not expecting that. I thought the Ottomans would fight tooth and nail to the end. And that is only the first turn of this episode. So fingers crossed that peace keeps up, and we'll watch what the Württembergs do over here, showing as we finally end the turn. Okay, so as expected, our workers are on strike in northern Italy. Not to worry there at all. Nation joins your enemies, the Ottoman Empire. Absolutely not a problem there. We've taken 2 regions for free, really. But, of course, like I said, we do have to worry about the minor standing armies pottering about. So what it might actually do is recruit some militia in Athens over here. Look at our income just skyrocketed there for us, which is very nice indeed as we take control properly over these provinces. Having said that then, I think we are going to go and hide over in here. double check actually. Yeah, this is still in Wallachia, so we'll push on in here. It's going to help our replenishment a tad. What we could do is just push down this army and put this army all the way into the Balkans to help our replenishment a tad more. That's not making too much difference, but what we can do is push this army down, and even though it is only militia, that will be able to deal hopefully with the tiny armies over here to prevent their raids onto our supply person down into Athens over here. What we could do then is actually support those with a couple fusiliers, not loads and loads. And we'll have to fight this army over here at some point. And that's getting reinforcements because we did push them out of Wallachia. But you know what? They're tattered at the moment, and that's from the previous battle. We've still got some losses to replenish here, but only 10 men missing from this army of fusiliers, or this regiment of fusiliers rather. We'll have to look out for that. But before we do that, let's just double check over to Milan over here. We do have Kutuzov. He's following us, but not really helping us a lot, is he? Not really helping us a lot at all. Ooh, where the hell did this guy come from? Heavy cavalry reserve as well. That's very, very nasty indeed. I seem to remember Edouard Morcier's name over here from somewhere recently. We're going to have to deal with this, and that's not ideal, because preferably I'd have used this army to crush the imminent rebellion over here. But looking at our public orders, we're probably not going to get a rebellion if we do keep garrisoning here, which suits me just fine, to be honest. So it's time to remove a rather large French threat over here. They've got some very, very heavily experienced units over here. French foot dragoons are going to be nasty. The French conscripts, not the greatest accuracy, but classically French high morale there. And these very, very nasty fusiliers over here. So before we move, I'm just going to double check. That was a few turns for our navy to recruit, wasn't it? It was one more turn. Interesting. Interesting. Probably should have asked the Ottomans for a cash boost, really, when we asked for peace. But before we forget, once again, we did see the Württembergs consolidating over here. So we are going to try and sabotage this larger portion of the army, which has worked. That's largely worked because it doesn't have a general in there, and it's not a full stack. Having a general in your armies is more important than you think. It does protect against agent actions, which is rather useful indeed. So that shouldn't be able to march through the mountains this turn at least. We will, of course, put this army back into Vienna, like so. But that won't be able to. That will be able to hold out for some siege time, but it won't be able to fight back in a direct assault there. So we are going to have to take on this army over here. A very, very quick save. And we'll go in to fight this. It might be a bridge battle, actually. Nice one over there. So what exactly is it? So not hugest army. Do have some chasseurs cheval looking for their chicken casserole. And some, those very nasty heavy cavalry. Look at that. 20 morale on cavalry is disgusting. How do they pair up though? The melee attack is 12 to 21 defense. So yeah, it really is the defense. They're going to last a long time in a direct cavalry fight, and of course we can't stand up to that. We have a slightly higher attack, but that defense, very, very nasty indeed. They're going to have to get shot down rather than fought by cavalry, but that's not what our cavalry are for. Our cavalry are for charging in the backs of their infantry, and of course their cannons. So let's bloody go and deal with this. Okay, so we've moved up halfway through the battlefield here, and we're trying to take our right flank all the way out here into the plains here. We've seen that the more elite units are on their own left flank over here, facing our right, of course. We can see the 200 men strong heavy cavalry reserve over here, with the French dragoons and such backed up by conscripts. We've been counter-battering their artillery, actually managed to completely destroy one unit of cannons over here, getting close to rousing off these cannons as well. By the looks of it, reduce them down to half strength over here. If these retreat off before they can have an impact on the battlefield, that is absolutely amazing already. But they're starting to move over their cavalry now. We're going to try and take a more defensive position here. I don't want to have to fight into the town here. That's really against the capabilities of our units, unfortunately. Are we going to get lucky with these cannon shots and take out another of their cannons? That's the question. Not too sure, but we're bouncing our rounds into their own cavalry. And, ooh, that's a very nasty shot onto our general. We do not want him to die very early on. the very flat ground here. We're going to just bring him over to the side here. Try and bring him out of the line of those cannons. We do have a slightly more elite side over here with some chevroned up units and our own Hungarian Fusiliers here. But I don't want to have to stand into this cannon fire for very long. Of course. Taking out one more of their cannons. It's just, I really want to force them to move in here into these plains and into our own cannons here. I'd like to take advantage of these trees because our chasseur, our own chasseur and Jaegers are waiting to pounce onto any charging cavalry there, is the plan. We were very close to routing off this artillery unit, but just couldn't quite keep up the accurate firepower, unfortunately. Let's reissue the attack order there to see if we can start focusing that a bit better. But now that they're moving forwards, it might just be a matter of weathering the storm, to be honest. I would like to move up a little closer to the town here, just to cut off any possible flanks around this massive open space here. But it doesn't look like they're too interested in doing that. Do have their chasseur cheval over there as well, but we might be able to pounce on and just overwhelm them with our cavalry and just destroy them in detail, really. We might have to refocus our cannon fire. I think we're going to try and fire onto the chasseur cheval over here. Once again, with these heavy cavalry reserve over here, we might just be able to push in with our own units over here. We're going to be a tad isolated over there, but we'll have the range to support with our Jaegers over here. And we can move these on over. I'm moving this group over here as a reserve and to help our centre. I don't think we're going to need quite so much infantry as we do have over on our right flank. So slowly moving those over to help out. And it's looking like the chasseur cheval want to have a word with our Hungarian Fusiliers. So we're going to try and get those out like so. Just pull back a tad, double time that. So we can pull them into our own firing line. They will have similar range to us. So actually, if we just halt these a second, maybe we can catch these off guard if they do charge in a bit more. I'm going to keep a thick line here just in case we do need to start a square. It looks like they do want to go for our own cavalry, so they're getting in range of our own guns. Now that they've got the first volley off, we can start charging in with our cavalry so that we don't get any hits as we charge in. And that is threatening our general a tad more, so we are going to have to pull him back now. So chasseur cheval certainly can hold their own individually against our units. We are going to have to make a square here, are we? Yeah, let's make one, better safe than sorry, as usual. Tad early, they can see we're doing it, but it looks like they're going to go for it. Looks like they're going to go for it. If they can make contact there, that is excellent. That is really, really good indeed. And our Jaegers have pounced out on that, of course. Let's double check our cannon fire. Maybe we can get some decent canister shots out onto this Swiss infantry now moving in on us. And what we can do is curl around with our Hungarian Fusiliers to help us over here. If we've got enough shots into their back, they're winning slightly. Okay, we're going to go all in on that cavalry attack then. Double time over to that and actually inspire, I think, this unit over here. Get some very nice shots on. What are we doing over here? Do we need to make a square? Probably not ideal though. Don't really want to, but we're going to have to. That's just reminding me to remove our squares over here and get some real shots out very quickly over here. Let's double back over here. Do we need to keep the square up? No, we don't, do we? Not too sure. No, we're getting shots out over there. Let's redirect our cannon fire over to here. They have made contact, have they? Why are we charging? Calm down. Calm down. Get back on your cannons. It's okay. Oh yeah, we're certainly winning that cavalry fight now. Getting some shots into the back there. What we can do then is finally just about face over here. Double time that. Get on over. Pull our general back so he doesn't take any stray shots. And what we can do is fire out onto this Swiss line over here. And now we can curl around over here, support everyone, double time that, but these cavalry are coming back, so we're just going to stop there very quickly, get one more volley out onto this unit, and with their currently low morale, might just have to make a square though. I know it's always late on these squares, but I just need to wait until the right time there. Not too late on it. We did get the front face just in time there to get a very nice volley out as well. Doesn't look like these Fusiliers aren't doing too much here, so what we're going to do is just turn around over here a tad. And that should help quite a bit there. Have we lost a lot of units? We have lost a fair amount of our Jaegers there, actually. Let's come back to the centre. Double check on these routed Chasseurs Cheval. We have routed off some units over here. What's that? Some very chevroned up Fusiliers over there. And we're still getting the very effective canister shots out over here. To make sure these are canistered up. That's excellent. Then we can just run our cavalry in to make sure they continue routing, really. Okay, so let's take, I think, these two units to really push their flank and take advantage of their isolated general there. And what we could do, I think, is actually give our Jaegers a break, just bring them out and get our Fusiliers right on in to go around as well. Now, who are we firing at over here? Might want to double check our lines here, just to have pull back, guess out, and actually take 2 units of cavalry to charge in onto these Fusiliers. And we can get these 2 units of cavalry over here. I'll just take, double check that a tad. I just can't quite get the units on properly there. Very, very tight indeed, but that's absolutely fine. Let's just move these out so we do get some better order there, and then we can start moving them properly. How are our cannons doing? What are we firing at? Let's go for this massive clump over here. That's very, very nasty indeed. But the French morale, even though they're battered, just don't want to break. Do not want to break. But now they're breaking, and what we can do is finally get this cavalry in onto them as they're running away, as they are intended for. So having said that, with our cavalry running in, we might actually want to halt our cannon fire here. Very briefly. And we'll just run through their lines. Is that their general standing right in front of some Fusiliers? It is. Classic AI move there. Very late on the square, but with only 48 men in the general staff, so not much of a bother, to be honest. It was a very limp charge as well. One word you don't want to describe your charge is limp. And with a dead general, that's absolutely brilliant. We do need to worry about their cannons still, because they are backed up by some more Chasseurs Cheval. But having said that, let's just double check. They do retreat fully here and make sure there are no survivors. Taking a bit of a battering ourselves here. The French, of course, very, very nasty infantry indeed. Let's go to round shots here, so if we can counter battery is artillery. Don't want to have to charge them directly, guys. That's never a good idea. We've just demonstrated how charging artillery directly is a bad idea. Looks like I might have to curl around, get in on them there. There we go. So we're going to stop our artillery once again. Stop that. Might be in a bit of trouble here. We're going to have to really quicken up, double time over here. No rest, guys. These Chasseurs Cheval are still fairly fresh, actually. Good morale on them. Very good morale on them. We are going to be able to curl around, though, get in on their flank. These cannoneers have abandoned their cannons and actually routing off now. I am still worried that some of these will come back to shoot us in the back. So what we can do is actually bring up over here, double time, get in on that. And we can fast forward here, because there's not a lot else we can do. Just waiting for the morale here to break finally. But we have completely cornered them. And that does mean they will fight pretty much to the last man there. And with the cannoneers getting in on that, so that's absolutely brilliant. Let's just charge down the remaining units, but we don't need to, because that is hopefully a heroic victory. A lot of losses on our side though, but very nasty French army out of the way. Let's end the battle and go to the results. Okay, so actually only 630 losses. Sounds a lot, but we've lost far more than that in previous battles. And that's what we like to see. Only 183 remaining. Is that enough to completely destroy them? Let's see. No. As of course it shouldn't be. So just a very quick auto resolve to really punch that home. Excellent. So a couple of traits there. Hero of the army to +4 morale in battles. And what is this? Hero Worship to actually +1 more prestige and +3 more to Marian battles. Absolutely disgustingly good general here now. Really, really good indeed. Let's actually double check our prestige. We're probably still doing fairly poorly actually on that. Yeah, because we don't have a really good standing army. Interestingly, the Ottomans have quite a large military prestige there. Even though we've battered them into ground, we only know of 1 full stack there. I'm very lucky to see that the Spanish have a terrible military there, though. I wonder if we can go for peace with them just out of sheer war weariness there. Let's try again. And we will just go for a quick white peace. But they said no, so that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to try offering them anything because they don't bloody deserve it. Can we trade technologies here for anything? We can demand a lot of technologies off of the Prussians, but we have nothing to spare to trade for that. I don't want to give them money because we're quite low on money anyway. I wonder if we can offer something for money, really. There's only top gallants and such we're missing out on, really, isn't it? But it is good to know that we're pretty much keeping up on the technology game there. We can get a couple more trade agreements going. If we go for the Kingdom of Naples, surely they'll say yes to that. If we request trade, can we offer some basic technologies for a little more base income there? We'll ask for 1,000. Military alliance with Naples for a little bit of money. That's going to drag us into more wars, but it's not like we can get into many more wars. I'll certainly take that. And to have some sort of extra ally would be very nice indeed. What about the Papal States? Can we go for something similar there? Could go for trade unions actually off of them to increase our happiness at the cost of a little bit of wealth. We'll try for that and we'll give them a couple more technologies there. Well, let's see what they say. Counter offer, no technology but more money and military alliance, and to be on board with the Pope. Yes please. Okay, so very nice little bit of income there, and that will mean we can start having a look at actually upgrading something. And unfortunately I don't want to upgrade anything on our homeland territory. What I want to upgrade is actually some stability and tax income in our newly found territory over here. I want to get this magistrate over here. We might want to look at upgrading our roads as well to help our movement speed and replenishment out here, because there's a lot of open ground out here. I don't want to upgrade over here just yet because we still need to get rid of this army, but unfortunately guys, I think that is going to be it for today. So only 2 turns we've played today, but a good couple big battles and a couple very nice regions secured, putting the Ottomans very much on the back foot. I think we'll be able to deal with this army fairly easily over here, and we'll be able to replenish in time to deal with the main stack and bring this out in time as well. I think the real problem with the Ottomans now is keeping up on top of their raiding groups out here. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's been very good to be back once again. And I shall see you, as ever, next week. Thank you very much for watching. I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.